good morning, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade, who's not here, but still she's the Gwennist, the Gwenisha, the Idisha Johnson.
Indeed she is. Indeed she is.
And it is actually Friday. It is August 27th. The time is 8:07 a.m. Well, now 8:08. And yeah, August is basically done.
August is done. Easy so. I still can't believe it.
I think so. God.
But bro,
Time flies.
before we even get into all that is Island Tea this morning, I just got word that Sparry from Hellfire and a passenger were in his vehicle and got into a serious accident last night. So prayers and well wishes to the both of them. Hopefully they have a speedy recovery and full recovery. I'm really looking forward to hearing good news in that situation. Big up Sparry one time.
Yeah. But it is now time for some Fast Caribbean Link Up with our friends over in Antigua, who is also joined by my friend Rhoda.
Oh, Rhoda's back?
Smile. Look at that smile.
Rhoda is back. Oh my gosh.
I am back. How you all doing, guys? How is everyone?
Great.
Good morning to you. Good morning to your listeners. It's lovely to be here.
We're doing great.
Are you hearing me fine? I just need to know that you're hearing me fine.
Yes, we're
Yes, we're hearing you okay.
Okay, good, cool.
Are you, Rhoda, you press secretary?
No, I'm just using somebody else's device to be able to get in.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you're now the press secretary to maybe to Rowley or somebody, up in
No.
those
No. It's just that my phone is currently charging.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Okay,
the device that I would normally use is currently charging. So I'm using somebody else's device to be able to get in.
Yes, understood. All right, Kevon, how are you? We are now y'all can see me now, thanks to our little setup. We still have to figure out how the listeners can see everybody. I'm hoping by the new month of September we'll be able to do that. But this morning we're not seeing Rhoda at all. But that's okay, Rhoda. I don't want to get.
Okay. And my video is off. And my video is off for good reason. I mean, I can explain it to you and to your listeners. I'm getting ready for an appointment. So I'm speaking to you. I'm getting ready for an appointment. And I feel that Kevon and I, we only now beginning to interact with each other, so he doesn't quite need to see me getting ready.
Fair enough.
Right.
Anyway, how are you doing, guys, over in St. Kitts? I understand your sidekick, for want of a better word, is on vacation. She's going to be enjoying some CPL. How are things going with the CPL before we engage Rhoda on what's happening in Trinidad?
Well, of course, the most important thing is that Patriots will have won their first game last night. And so that is welcome news. We're well on the way to winning the championships.
Okay. You're very ambitious. Extremely ambitious. I think Rhoda might have a thing or two to say about that. But we'll see how that plays out.
Listen,
Rhoda.
I will just say that Shakari Richardson levels of confidence there. That's all I will say at this point in time.
But we see how that worked out the last time, so be careful.
No, I'm just saying it's that level of confidence that I'm getting there, and we will look on. I'm not gonna make any predictions at this point in time. I hope that TKR performs well, but generally I hope that cricket, goes well.
Yes, we want cricket to be the winner in this arrangement. Tell us what's happening, Rhoda. We can always talk to Kevon and Azem because we only get this pleasure ever so often. And I want to thank you publicly, Rhoda, for agreeing to join us this morning. At the 11th hour, I will let the listeners know. That wasn't the plan originally, but I said, something happened yesterday that didn't pan out. And I said, where could we go that we haven't been to for a little bit? And I said, Trinidad. And of course, the first person that came to mind was Rhoda. So, Rhoda, thank you so much for being so gracious with your time.
No problem at all. I was just, when I saw the request, I was a little bit surprised. I just thought, well, what is going on in Trinidad right now that would be intriguing or interesting to the rest of the Caribbean? But yeah, we can talk about current affairs in Trinidad. That's not a problem.
Yes, all right. And speaking of current affairs, how are things? Things, as you said, do appear to be fairly quiet. I mean, Dr. Keith Rowley, he hasn't. I know he said something recently that didn't please. I'm trying to remember what it was. Some comment he made recently that upset a few folks. I don't.
Well, recently he would have said to people that they're being dotish, that they're being stupid. Basically, because he felt that okay, so vaccine hesitancy. I don't know how it has impacted your various islands, but vaccine hesitancy is one of the challenges that we're having. So maybe I need to backpedal a bit. The last time we spoke, we would have talked about the increase in infections and the fact that we would have had to go into a lockdown, right? A state of emergency with a curfew. I think that's the last thing that we would have been discussing.
Quite correct.
So we went into the state of emergency. We have a curfew that starts at 9 p.m. at night and goes until 5 a.m. So between 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., unless you are authorized to be on the streets, you're not supposed to be on the streets. Then between then and now, we have had a significant increase in the number of vaccines that we have available on the island. So we have we've acquired more than 1.6 million vaccines thus far. As a matter of fact, I think we have acquired upwards of 2 million vaccines and different types of vaccines, right? So we would have gotten first AstraZeneca, then Sinopharm, then Pfizer. Now we have Johnson & Johnson in various amounts. The one with the least quantities of the AstraZeneca, I think we've gotten maybe around 200,000 AstraZeneca. These are around the figures I'm giving you. These are not the final exact figures. So about 200,000 AstraZeneca, 800,000 Sinopharm, 300,000 Pfizer, and 108,000 Johnson & Johnson. But in terms of the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, it's supposed to be about 900,000 Pfizer and 800,000 Johnson & Johnson vaccines in total. So lots of vaccines have been acquired, whether through donations or through purchase. And we have thus far 700,000 first dose of the vaccines have been administered. A little over 300,000 people are fully vaccinated, as in having both shots and gone past the 2-week period. But of course, we're trying to get to 70% in terms of vaccination here, because we want to be in a position where we can open things back up. And the pushback that you're getting is more so a pushback from religious entities. And that's where the Prime Minister would have made his statements. He would have made a couple of comments about the foolishness that is being said, as in the unscientific comments that are being made, the claims that are being made by religious entities and organizations, and generally from persons who are sharing incorrect information via social media. And he would have made some hasty comments where I was concerned. And then on Wednesday here, we would have gone back to Parliament to extend the state of emergency. So our state of emergency is continuing for 3 more months until we get to the level of vaccination that we want to get to. And of course, hospital occupancy is down at a level that we are comfortable with.
Okay. What's the hospitalization situation like in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you know offhand?
Well, remember, we have a parallel healthcare system. So when I'm talking about hospitalization numbers, I'm talking about hospitalization numbers in parallel healthcare system. And I think, okay, the last report that I listened to, which is not necessarily the last report that was made, the last report that I listened to, we were somewhere around 60% bed occupancy within the parallel healthcare system, right? And our parallel healthcare system allows for a little over 1,000 persons at a time to be hospitalized, because we have an intensive care unit, we would have a high dependency care unit, and of course then the regular persons who have to be in there. And outside of that, we also allow people to quarantine at home. It's only the people who are likely to have severe respiratory problems. We ask, I think that's who the hospital system asks to come in, or rather will keep in the hospital system, the parallel healthcare system, to look after. So what they've been promoting as much as possible when the health officials speak at their various press conferences, is that they want to keep hospital intake or hospital occupancy on the in the system as low as possible, under 50%, because under 50% makes it manageable for a number of reasons. We've reopened our borders since the last time you and I spoke. We've reopened our borders, so people are coming in. There are criteria and guidelines for being able to enter the country, and there's a certain amount of space they need to have available in the state quarantine and the parallel healthcare system should persons come in that are infected, especially with the Delta variant, because I'm sure you're seeing what the Delta variant is doing in various parts of the world. So we don't want a situation where the Delta variant gets here, it spreads to the local population, so it's not contained, spreads to the local population, and then we have another wave of infections and deaths linked to the Delta variant.
All right. Kevon, you have a question or answer for Rhoda?
Yeah, it's just I'm listening to you talk about the healthcare system and all of that, and that's one of the biggest concerns that I hear a lot of people here talking about, trying to avoid getting to a position where the healthcare system is overextended, right? But we're seeing a lot of in Trinidad. You guys have a lot of the different vaccines, and that is still not alleviating some of the hesitancy. Because I'm asking because one of the things that we've been hearing is, oh, we want options, or for instance, people might have a preference for one reason or another. Since you guys have acquired these vaccines from different manufacturers, has there been an increase in people going out and getting vaccinated?
I'll tell you what my observations have been, and I don't want to give the impression at all that my observations are scientific observations. This is very, very, me just looking on at what I'm seeing on social media and the comments and stuff that are being made.
Right.
I think that for the most part, the percentage of the population that always wanted to be vaccinated, that was always interested in being vaccinated, that's the percentage of the population that's being vaccinated. So people have been, what I've been experiencing here, what I've been observing here is, at every single turn, there's a reason given for why a person is not taking the vaccine, right? So the first time around would have been, oh, it's AstraZeneca, and this is too new, and we're not sure if we can trust, because there have been a lot of stories about AstraZeneca and clotting and those kinds of things, right? Those stories were around, right. Those stories were circulated. So there were persons basically saying that they don't trust AstraZeneca. Then we got Sinopharm. Sinopharm didn't have the same stories, but people were then there saying they don't trust a vaccine coming out of China. God alone knows why, because they purchase everything else from China. And in Trinidad, every 2 shops is a Chinese restaurant or a Chinese grocery, right? So
right.
You're thinking to yourself, okay, so you're comfortable with purchasing every other item under the sun that is made in China, but a vaccine, no, not so much, even though there's science to back the vaccine. So there is that. Then the other thing you would have heard is people saying they wanted options, right? They wanted vaccine options, which blew my mind, because I did not realize that any government was under the obligation to get options in terms of vaccines to the population. Mm-hmm. So then Pfizer came in. Now, with respect to the Ministry of Health, their approach with Pfizer is to make Pfizer available to the school population because they want to be able to resume face-to-face education at the primary and secondary level.
Right.
So there's been uptake within the secondary school population, but again, you will find that in the households where the parents were pro-vaccination, the children are pro-vaccination. And then outside of that, you will hear in those households where the parents are not pro-vaccination, they're not allowing their children to get vaccinated by Pfizer, with the Pfizer vaccine. And they are consistently looking to say, well, this happened with this person in another part of the world, or to basically say that, again, that the vaccines are very new and they don't trust the vaccines. Even though the Ministry of Health has been running public education programs to indicate vaccines as a system, vaccines as a process, it's not a new thing. People have been making vaccines for, at least a century. It's what might be new is this particular virus, but how you go about making vaccines, how you go about testing vaccines, not new at all. But there's still a hesitancy. So now we have 4 brands of vaccines, and you're still getting hesitancy in terms of going out to get the vaccine, because there are a lot of persons who just decided that they're not going to get vaccinated. So now it leads to a very interesting conversation. I think the next conversation here, and it's building, is a vaccination policy and whether or not the state is going to implement a mandatory vaccination policy.
And you think there's a lot of public support for something like that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that there will be support in different ways, and that there will also be pushback in different ways, right? Because you're looking at the workspace. You're looking at issues such as health and safety within the workplace. You're looking at what it means for people going out and interacting on a regular basis. So there's still a lot of conversation about who is going to be working remotely, who's not going to be working remotely, and whether or not various businesses are going to insist on vaccination policies. The private sector here has begun to implement policies. So like banks, for instance, they have policies that they have begun to implement. And they are indicating to their employees, we want you to be vaccinated. They are actually incentivizing things for their employees, because I've noticed with at least one bank, Republic Bank has provided incentives for employees. So if you're vaccinated, they're giving you money.
Oh.
You're getting some money in your account for being vaccinated.
Kevon, another reason to move to Trinidad, Kevon.
The other thing that they've done is they developed their own vaccination drives. So they would have had days set aside for their staff to get vaccinated. They would have also allowed for their staff to speak to doctors. So if there was anybody who was hesitant about getting vaccinated, there were those options available to them. So it's been that kind of atmosphere with respect to vaccines and vaccination.
All right. And so Dr. Rowley, he seems to have a tendency of speaking as he sees it. He doesn't seem to have a fridge or speak with fungi. Well, we call it fungi in Antigua. I think you guys in Trinidad have another name for it. It's the cornmeal ball.
Right. We also say he or she, whoever is the person, don't pour water in the mouth when they have something to say. And no, the Prime Minister does not.
Heard that one.
Right. The Prime Minister does not put water in his mouth when he has something to say. He is a very blunt person when speaking. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me that he has said things that will rub people will rub people in a particular way.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, just by way of information, since we're speaking about inducements or whether positive or negative, depending on how you look at it, Delta Airlines, the CEO announced yesterday, Bastian, that their employees are going to have to pay an extra $200 on the health insurance premium because it costs the airline's health plan an extra $45,000 to $50,000 to treat employees who end up in the hospital with COVID. And he's saying that's not sustainable. So anybody who doesn't get vaccinated, they have to pay an extra $200 per month, mind you, to be on the health plan. And frankly, I wonder if that's not something that we could pattern as well, because I'd like to know how much it costs the hospital here, and I guess similarly in St. Kitts and in Trinidad. How much does it cost to treat a COVID patient? Because those folks who insist on not getting the vaccination because of some meme they saw online or whatever their reason, or their quote-unquote research, they go to the hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, and I said this just this week, if you don't believe in the science behind vaccines, the same medical science, why are you believing in the medical science to go to the hospital to make you better from the same COVID? And you're costing taxpayers money.
It's interesting that you asked that question because I cannot recall the exact figure off the top of my head, but the question was asked of our Minister of Health sometime last year about what it costs, right? And he talked about what it costs in terms of a hospital bed and all of the equipment that is necessary to be able to treat a patient. And it's very expensive. It's very expensive. So for each person that comes in, right, COVID positive, that has to be tested and has to be treated, it's upward of $100,000, if I am not mistaken, right? If I'm not, because he was talking about the cost of PPE, all of the rest of the equipment, all of those things, and of course it ranges and it depends on whether or not the person has to go on a respirator or whatever, right? So it is very costly. One of the concerns that Republic Bank had with respect to their vaccine, their policy for workers returning, had to do with healthcare premiums, because they sent out a memo to staff about the new return to work policy for September. And one of the things that they indicated in there was that they weren't going to be allowing staff to use their health plans to pay for PCR tests, because unvaccinated persons would more likely than not end up having to do PCRs more regularly than vaccinated persons. And that might lead to an increase in the health premium for staff across the board. And they didn't think that it was fair to staff to have to pay for vaccinated persons to have to pay a higher premium because some people chose to be unvaccinated.
Ooh.
Yeah. Kevon?
These are,
you have a thought on that?
I'm just listening to it. I think it's definitely a concern, one that I've heard some persons involved in corporations even here in St. Kitts speaking about as well. But the conversation that I was in was saying, where do you draw the line? There's some people who choose to eat hamburgers every day, and then also have a negative effect in terms of the cost to treat when they end up with these non-communicable diseases, and so everyone pays that cost as well. So that's the argument that I've been hearing as it relates to the whole insurance situation. But I do believe that companies are going to start putting policies in place to get the behavior that they want to see from the employees. It's happening here in St. Kitts as well.
Well, the companies are already putting in place policies to be able to get the behavior that they want to get. You're already seeing that. I'm seeing, the incentivization things, the campaigns to get people aware of the vaccine and And of course, there are situations where people are outright saying, if you aren't vaccinated, you cannot, you will not be in a position to come back out and work in the same capacity that you were working in before. So if you know you were dealing with the public directly, if you were in a position where you were dealing directly with the public, no, we can't have you dealing with directly with the public, and we may have to find something else for you to do.
Mm.
And if you're not, if let's say you are a CSR and you liked being a CSR, right? And now you're being told that you have to go and do something else that I guess would be on the same pay scale as before, but it's not the sort of job that you're interested in. It's not the sort of work that you're interested in. I'm sure it's bound to frustrate. It's bound to frustrate the employee, especially if they're not interested in being vaccinated. So I'm anticipating a lot of very interesting conversations around this whole business of the vaccine and getting vaccinated, and how people feel about having to be vaccinated for the purpose of work.
Yeah, that is the reality. But the other concerning thing about this Delta variant is that based on the numbers that we've received from the acting chief medical officer, a number of the patients now in hospital are children. So, for those 0 to 12, I think, you can't get vaccinated. There's no vaccination option for you. And that's the deadly thing, or the dangerous thing with this Delta variant. It seems to, whereas before the first variant didn't seem to have that great of an impact on children, the Delta variant does. And that's what viruses do. They mutate. They get better at being viruses. And so the children are not susceptible. And that's what we're seeing here and throughout the United States, and I would imagine in other parts of the Caribbean as well. More children.
You know what?
I don't know if you have those numbers.
You know what I find interesting? We have children getting COVID here. I can't say that we're getting. I can't say that there's been a huge increase since the Delta variant arrived. Nor can I say that we have persons here who I don't know that we have any children that tested positive with the Delta variant. Thank goodness. And thus far, all of the persons that have tested positive for the Delta variant have been persons who have traveled and come in and have been caught via testing when they arrive here, right? So, they've gone directly into the parallel system. This is based on official figures and statistics. But what I have noticed is children are getting ill here. Children have gotten ill. And we still have parents that are hesitant about vaccinating their children where this particular virus is concerned, but they would have vaccinated their children at birth, whether the child is 12 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old. I mean, 12, 15, 16 years ago, when the child was born, the child would have been vaccinated. And the argument that they have is they trust those vaccines because those vaccines would have been tested. But if you ask these parents, if 15 years ago, 16 years ago, they even questioned what was in the vaccines that they were allowing to be administered to their children, no, they weren't. So really, it's a kind of faux awareness, so fake awareness, fake research into things to do with science and vaccine, and in my opinion, a kind of fabricated concern, because there are a number of things. If you ask them, have they checked this, have they checked that, have they checked the other about what is going on with this and that and the other that they're putting into their bodies? No, they haven't. But because right now, globally, there is a conversation that has started up about whether the vaccines can be trusted or not be trusted, there's that conversation here. And the real delving into what goes on with the vaccines, what goes on with the creation of variants, and how those things can affect various populations, they don't really get into that. So when you start to raise questions about, do you know how variants are created? do you know that not vaccinating yourself can actually lead to the creation of variants? They don't want to have those conversations with you because I am pro-vaccination. But if someone tells me they don't want to get vaccinated, I'm not pushing the conversation beyond that, right? I'm not trying to proselytize. I'm here leading no crusade here at all. This is your life. If you wanna play games with your life, that's entirely up to you. That's your business. But I have said to persons who have opted to not get vaccinated, I've said to you, because their argument is, well, if you are vaccinated, why are you concerned about me not being vaccinated? And I've had to indicate to them, because you not being vaccinated might lead to you being a host to a variant. It might lead to you being the person whose body allows for a variant to develop. And you might also be in a position where you can pass on the virus to vulnerable people. And by vulnerable people, I mean the ones who can't get vaccinated, whether it's for health reasons or because of their age. And I mean, one of the ironies for me is that some of these persons are complaining about students being able to go back out to school, face-to-face school, and they're saying to them, well, you know, if more adults got vaccinated, we'd be able to let the children go back out to school. Because the reason we're afraid to let the children go back out to school is that not enough adults have been vaccinated, and so the children might contract the virus, and you know, we see infection rates go back up, and worse than that, deaths. But I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else we can say to get the message across.
Listen to this. This is a post that was shared by one of my Facebook friends, and I thought it very telling. This friend of mine on Facebook just heard someone telling a celebrated medical doctor with over 40 years of experience, who also heads a medical department at an Ivy League university, that he needs to educate himself on vaccines. And therein lies the problem. Social media has created a bunch of mini experts that everybody feels that they can go online, quote unquote, research, and all of a sudden they know about vaccines. And it's just amazing. So I asked one particular purveyor of information on Facebook recently, have you had a conversation with your doctor, the doctor that you've been going to all your life? Have you had a conversation with them about vaccines? You know, and the man had a heart to tell me no. I said, so what are you telling me? You consult your doctor on other matters, I would imagine, concerning your health, you know, something hurting you or not working right. You talk to your doctor. Why not about this vaccination issue? I don't think he could answer me. Actually, I think there was a pregnant pause in his response, because he realized I made my point quite persuasively. You are relying too much. They are relying too much on things. And the other thing too, we've lost that sense of community. It's all about me. It's not about doing this for the team. It's me. I don't want this. I. And so the sense of community that we all are in this together, we all have to get vaccinated to basically give the virus less of a chance to mutate and cause more damage. We've lost that in the whole argument of trying to win an argument. We've lost that sense of community, and that is unfortunate. And I know I'll probably get a few angry messages, but I don't know that I particularly care. I'm having a Keith Rowley moment. Yeah,
well, at least you're in a position to understand what led to the outburst.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, when I saw the comment, I said, go Dr. Rowley. I think the listeners already know I have a soft spot for Dr. Rowley. I like him. I like him generally. I think once or twice he does have a way of putting his foot in his mouth, which when you're like that, you tend to. But on this particular score, I was with him. I probably wouldn't have said it because I'm way too diplomatic, but somebody has to say the truth, right?
Well, I know that he is accustomed to taking or to making very unpopular decisions, right? Because there are a number of decisions that have had to be made during this pandemic that have not been popular decisions, but he has made the unpopular decisions. Whether or not people think that is a good thing here tends to vary. You know, Trinidadians are, we're an interesting bunch of people.
Yes,
That's
question about that. No question about that. The quick
It's a
question
safe way of putting it.
sorry, go ahead, Azem. Was that Azem or Kevon? Sorry.
No, I was saying that's a safe way of putting it.
yeah.
What about the
But
politics?
remember, I still have to live here, guys. I still have to live here.
Yes. Just real quick before you go, because you say you have an appointment to get ready for or finish getting ready for. How is the politics at Trinidad and Tobago? How is Kamala doing? And Kamala vis-a-vis Dr. Rowley?
Well, I mean, the politics here remains tense as ever. Everything is political. Every single decision that is made tends to have a political slant. Recently, there were two polls that were conducted looking at the performance of the government as well as the performance of the opposition. And Dr. Rowley's, I think they looked at things like his popularity or how his performance has been rated. So he dropped by a couple percent. So he's down to less than 50% in terms of public approval on his performance. But one of the other things that was noted in the poll is that the opposition is losing ground as well, right? So while the People's National Movement, which would be the sitting government, is not necessarily the most popular government right about now, the opposition is also struggling. So that's the point that I wanted to make. That based on the polls, it seems as if the opposition is also struggling in terms of its impact on the public.
People fed up, man.
Well, I mean, they have performance issues. That's the best way to put it.
You're exercising some diplomacy there, Rhoda.
I am. I mean, I don't think.
Be there.
Well, I mean, with respect to the opposition, I always feel the need to practice some restraint and diplomacy because I'm not a fan of the opposition at all. I have my concerns, as with anybody else, with respect to the sitting government. There are things that I will not be keen on. There are things that I will be keen on. But because I am aware of how strong my feelings are with respect to the sitting opposition, I always feel that I needed to exercise a little bit more restraint with respect to the comments that I make about them.
Understood.
Right?
Understood.
Because I have found our opposition to be quite problematic.
Understood.
So
to me, if I have very strong feelings about something or a particular issue, I always think I should err on the side of caution and be circumspect about how I am critiquing or the things that I am saying about that institution or organization because of my personal feelings where they are concerned. Because I regularly critique them. I regularly come out and say, this is foolishness, this is dumb, why would they have done something like this? This is the sort of behavior they have perpetuated for however long. They're regularly criticized by me. And I feel if they're being regularly criticized by me, if anybody asks me for my opinion, I need to be circumspect.
Understood.
Anyhow, guys, I have to run. It was lovely as ever.
It was as lovely as ever. Kevin, do you have anything to say for Rhoda?
Perhaps a
Who
proposal?
knows what I have to say?
What is it?
I was wondering if perhaps a proposal is what he might have had to say, but I guess not.
All right, Rhoda.
I mean, I could propose to him, there's no, we're in 2021.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
Aye. Look at how he's blushing. Oh my God. Anyway, thanks a lot.
I'm amazed.
I hope that... See, she didn't hear what? She not even listening to me. She just listening to him.
listening to you. I am listening to you, wishing me a great day, right? You're saying all the right things. I mean, don't think that I'm not paying attention to you as well. I'm actually gauging both of you, and I'm looking after my best interest here.
Why? Lyrics. Rhoda, you're the best. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
No
All the
problem,
best.
guys.
Have a good
Take care.
All right, thanks.
appointment.
Have a great weekend.
You.
Bye.
Yeah, you too as well. All right, guys. Yeah, somebody is saying to me here, you want to get some feedback from some of the listeners, gentlemen, before we go?
Oh, sure,
I
sure.
don't see why not.
Yeah, you don't see why not, right? Because, you know, well, I have a tendency of picking out the ones that attack me, right?
Oh,
You know, yeah.
you're good for punishment.
Yeah, I have developed a fix. Well, you know, I'm fine. I'm comfortable in my skin. Let's see this one. So that's why you love Gaston so much. I think this is in reference to my point that I like Keith Rowley because he's blunt. And so this person is trying to draw a parallel with the Prime Minister, except that I've never made that public statement about the Prime Minister. I've actually not made that public statement about any political figure here in Antigua and Barbuda. I try to keep my cards close to my chest as far as local politics is concerned, and I do it for good reason, right? I invite both of them here to come on to say what they have to say. So whatever personal opinion I might have of them, I keep that close to my chest. And of course, there's a big guessing game. Some people think I'm partial to the Prime Minister. Some people think I'm partial to Mr. Lover. They will never know. And they can continue to fish from now until Jesus comes for his own. Let's see. As long as I'm in the chair, let's put it that way, which, you know, it may not be forever. Come on, Darren. You keep pushing for the vaccine. Put that same effort for people to repent and change their lives. That's a job for a pastor lady, not me, or someone. We're discussing vaccine here. That's a different issue altogether. That's a different issue. We're discussing vaccines this morning, not salvation, and I will deal with people on the one-on-one as far as their faith is concerned, if the matter comes up. Okay, good morning, Darren. Unvaccinated people pay medical benefits for years, and some never made a claim. Why can't they go to the hospital if they have COVID-19? So what you guys think about that? That's just some feedback from some of our listeners.
Like I said, I understand from a business perspective where they're making decisions they do, but I think it's a slippery slope. I think a lot of us have we make lifestyle decisions that affect our health, and a lot of times somebody else ends up paying for it. So I don't know if that's something that's unique to the situation, but I could definitely see with the obvious reasons for the rising in premiums, some companies are going to do something to offset that.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So thank you so much, gentlemen. I don't know if there's any... Well, how think it's... By the way, there's some adjustment to your curfew, I understand.
Oh, yeah. We have been let out a bit more. It seems as though it might have actually coincided a bit with the CPL. I don't know if that is coincidence or by design, but we now are curfewed between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Oh, so you can't go to a late night party.
Well, apparently music can't be played anywhere on the island. So that's one of the big discussions now. The task force announced, I think on Wednesday, that no music will be played at the CPL games. So that had just that was a huge point for discussion across the island. How could you have the biggest party in sports with no music? But it seems to be something that the task force has been adamant about in terms of the role music plays in people's behavior and trying to limit that. So there's no discussion going on about that. Somebody is saying that we probably need to vaccinate our music, but yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I have a feeling that they might revamp that policy before the end of the tournament, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, great. Gents, we got to leave it there. I have a lot of messages to play since we've been in a little extra time, and it's almost time for me to vacate the chair. So we'll leave it there, but I'm sure you guys enjoyed listening to Rhoda, and thank you so much.
Some more than others, but yes.
In the link of this. Yes, he's very quiet, you notice? Yes. Well, anyway, have a good one, and blessings to you both, and stay safe.
All right, man. You too, Darren. Appreciate it.
All right. You're most welcome.
Kevon, what going on in the world, man?
A lot.
How you feel about the music at CPL thing?
I feel like it. Truthfully, I think that was a little unnecessary. I don't know if it's. I think I get what they were trying to get at. They were trying to decrease the party culture, because CPL is a party sport. Well, not CPL. Cricket is a party sport in the Caribbean, and I think they felt as if playing music is going to make people revert to what they've done before, which is jump up together, party together. And in an effort to reduce that, they chose to do no music. I don't think so, though, because I don't think that was necessary, because for me, that was the role of the party stand.
But not only that, perhaps what is necessary is stricter oversight.
Yeah, and I think that's why I said, it
just needs stricter oversight. Like if there's people who, okay, you have a situation, and somebody made a good point to me. In terms of behavior, I don't know if music, in other words, I don't believe music totally impairs your ability to make sound decisions. Right? So in terms of behavior, I think I could listen to music and understand that in this particular situation, this is how I should act and act accordingly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps a combination between music and alcohol may make it more difficult, but you didn't say nothing about the alcohol, which directly impairs people's decision making.
Mm.
So
and
it's kind of like I don't know.
And like I said, I think the role of that is party stand. Because truthfully, yes, people in regular stands jump up and have fun and stuff. But I think the behavior they're trying to avoid is the behavior that happens in the party stand. So with the absence of the party stand, there will be an absence of such behavior.
But you see, that's the other thing too.
The purpose of removing the music.
And that's the other thing too. Perhaps we're making our assumptions. Perhaps we think that's the behavior that they're trying to avoid.
Yeah, it could be for other reasons.
But yeah, who knows what they're thinking. I think it's unfortunate. I think it and there's some people who are looking at it and saying what does this mean for entertainment and stuff like that, which is definitely a concern. But I'm just even more concerned in regards to the mentality and the approach towards art and music, and not only that, again we see a situation where it seems as though there is a lack of trust in people to make wise decisions, even in a situation where there is oversight. Like at every turn, you're going to be asked to sanitize, you're going to be asked to wear your mask, you're going to be asked to, like, come on. Like, okay, let me put it this way. What you think would, theoretically, and we're not talking about what's practical or not practical, but theoretically, what you think would go further in regards to curbing people's behavior in a way that limits the spread of the virus? Banning music or banning eating and drinking?
Please don't let me answer this question.
I'm just saying, like, we need, like, if you don't eat, like, you keep your mask on. You keep your mask on if you don't eat or drink. So, like, sometimes you have to kind of, I don't know, man. Like, so, but again, I don't believe that this is gonna stand for the entire competition. I don't believe so. Too much money being spent. But we have a caller, Kevon. Somebody wants to get in on the conversation. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up? Oh, I guess they didn't want to answer my question. Please call back if you figure out the answer to that question. They'll just say we can't ban eating and drinking, but we could ban music. That would be the logic. But it's sad that that's the case, right? I mean, you're hearing people now discussing one owner of an establishment told me they were told they can't have a DJ, but they could have house music that was mixed by a DJ. But we have a caller trying to get in. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Caller, good morning to you, young man. How you do today?
Man, I'm doing great. No complaints.
I'm Talk Puppy.
Oh, Talk Puppy. Big up yourself.
Yeah. Hear this one now. I was doing something. You had on a woman there like 15 minutes ago speaking towards the vaccine and how young people once ago, mothers used to take their children to take vaccine without asking anything. I've never heard anything so brilliant. Is that a local woman or it was someone calling you from overseas?
We were talking to a friend of ours from Trinidad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well. I am so impressed with that woman. Now let's go. Any idea from you all why nobody went to see the cricket last night? I was a little worried. Any idea?
Well, I do believe I think it's several factors. You have a reason?
I was wondering because the way our people live our lives and we're so in tune to music. I was wondering because yesterday on the program I did make reference to why there is no music if everybody going to this thing and they are vaccinated. I'm wondering if somebody making a mistake here.
Exactly.
Look, let me tell you how we got to live in St. Kitts. No matter what party we support, we have to rise above the normal stupid rhetoric. That is why I have found it convenient to listen to your show, because I have found this show has moved the bar upward. And I don't have no time with people who don't know where they are going. Now, because our people are so musically driven and we are Caribbean black people, you cannot have cricket in Warner Park. Where black people is going, our own people, accustomed to music, and music purify our minds and heart and body and soul. But you tell them no music, but yet everyone is fully vaccinated. Does that make sense? Not to me. So I'm wondering who made such a blunder, and I'm wondering why when they're making these decisions, they don't call stupid me. Because I'm nothing in this country. People pay less attention to me who are going to be factual, who are going to be honest and forthright with them in all my deliberation, not thieving money, not taking your money to buy windows and doors, and you don't get neither money nor windows and doors. When are we going to learn and step up? You all have a good day. All I can say to you all is continue with this magnificent raising of the bar in St. Kitts. Have a good day.
I appreciate your talk, Puppy.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you know, the other thing too, somebody was asking me, so what if they were to play country and western? They think they feel like that. Like, so if they believe that music like affects people's behavior, wouldn't different music affect people's behavior differently? So perhaps you could have music that achieves the goal you want to achieve. How about classical? How about you go to CPL and have some classical music?
So you hear some Mozart?
Some Mozart and some Beethoven. I'm more Chopin fan myself.
A little opera, here and there.
Yeah. Figaro. Oh man, let's see what this caller says. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Can I raise a topic of something that you guys discussed earlier in the week?
Perhaps we may not comment, but you could go ahead.
Okay. This is Journey. My name is Journey. Earlier in the week, you had a young lady on your show, and you were discussing. I'm going to just paraphrase what she said. She was discussing, we in the Caribbean are in St. Kitts and Nevis trading with the EU. And she gave an item that if we were to be trading with the EU, like for instance, she mentioned guava cheese. And she says that, the EU won't recognize guava cheese. Now, as young people, and now that we are observing the trend and the changes that is happening, here is it that she's promoting, if we were going to trade with the EU, we should have, from what I'm understanding, she was saying is that, we need to come up to par with our product.
No, just to clarify, she was here from the Intellectual Property Office. And so what's happening is that there is now an effort to properly classify products from the region, in regards to in regards to their trademark. So it's just about making sure that stuff go into the right category. And so they don't be confused when it's time to trade.
Yeah, I got that. No, my issue with this is why the EU, and why I ask this question. In my opinion, the West has fallen. The whole system is crumbling. And if we are going to look forward to our future, why trade with the minority? We are the majority. Why should we be trading with the minority?
Why not trade with everybody who is willing to trade?
Okay, fine. Even with everybody then.
Yeah,
fine.
man.
But let us gear towards our own survival, our own people. Here we have the continent of Africa with almost 70% of the population is young people. Africa is the future. The West has fallen. The whole system, if you observe what is happening, they are crumbling. They're desperately gripping on to the system, and at the same time, they're throwing everything at us to keep us plugged in. We can cripple the system for our survival. They know our story so well, and they're throwing things at us to keep us plugged in into their narrative. We don't have to be trading with the EU. I mean, okay, by that I mean let us trade, but let us trade for our survival. The majority of the people on the planet is black people. Those who are running the world today, they know this. That's why they're keeping us plugged in to their narrative. I mean, look at
Johnny, just to clarify, you're advocating for us trading more and more with people from the African continent, from the region, black people in general, right? Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Well, let's say people on a whole, the whole thing, but
people on a whole. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. Like, you just want us to just not ignore those possibilities. Right. Okay, got you.
I'm just saying, look to ourselves because Kevon, whichever one you are, you see, the thing is, they are targeting us because we are the majority. Well, then let us turn our back on them and look to ourselves. Because, believe it or not, they are targeting us. Now, I'm going to mention something, and I want you to Google it. Look up Seedco. Seedco, that's SWE.co, and Monsanto. They are responsible for GMO products, while the wealthy philanthropists, they are growing organic. So we are consuming GMO while they are growing organic. Now, I'm sure you are aware of, I don't want to mention his name, the one who stepped down from his company, who is now buying up all his land and going into agriculture. If you Google Seedco, SWED.co, you would be amazed to see who name come up behind Seedco. So I am saying, yes, we have to market our product to the world market, but let us look to ourselves first, because we are the majority, and those people who are in charge right now, they know this, and that's why they are targeting us. They want us. And you see, my opinion on this vaccine and the coronavirus, my opinion, if they're going down, as I see it, that nature have an expiry date on them, they're going to take them as much as they can. Now, we have our chief medical officer and yeah, are you saying something?
No, I said interesting.
Okay, look at what the medical officials are giving us. They're giving us what's been handed down from CARFA to us with the vaccine, who knows what's going to happen to us 5, 10 years? Kevon, if you want to start a family after you take the vaccine, do you know how your child is going to come forth 10 years later?
He's a puppy guy.
Sorry?
He's more puppy
No,
guy.
but I think that's also I think that's also fair to ask that question with every vaccine that has ever been administered.
Well, you see, the thing is, right, now our medical...
And I'm sure most of us have that nice scar,
they know
which is the
medicine.
BCG vaccine.
They are medical officials. But what I'm saying is, chemists are the one who manufactures all these vaccines and all that. But our doctors, they know medicine, but they are not manufacturing, they're not... Well, our people might be involved in it, yeah. But I am saying what is handed down from CARFA to our doctors here to bring across to the public, we are not asking the right questions. Thank you for hearing. This is my opinion.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for that.
You ever met somebody who everything about the essence just seems to make sense? No, like it just makes sense. The first thing he said was, "This is journey," and we move from CPL to international trade. The universe really is a wonderful place. Everything just comes together.
It is. I for me, when it comes to these conversations, I'm all for asking questions and, questioning things, because that's how things, make sense. Yeah, that's how you get your answers. But at some point, I think we need to be a little, because I don't think it, I think sometimes, and this is not in reference to the call, this is reference to in conversations in general about this new pandemic. I think people ask questions and they don't want the answers, actually. And I think that's where we start going wrong, because people start asking questions and questioning things. But how come this? And then when you give them the answer, like, no.
Yeah, I think what's happening is that people have become so accustomed to being in echo chambers and having this, not even discussions, but hearing stuff that reinforces their biases. Like, I think we're losing the essence of how to have open communication with people. Like, even you know how much people are losing the ability to disagree, at least in any constructive way. And I think I think we all have
to be going in that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think definitely. But we have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up? Oh, that's a caller. Let's try this one before we move on. Good morning, caller. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hold a bit. Yes, good morning again. Yes, with the CPL, right, and this no music thing. To me, it's like you what I say, like it's like this saying where they have that you give somebody asks for milk, right? And you give them a glass of milk and you put it there and they turn the back, and when you look back around, the milk is, all spilled. With the thing, you're gonna have the games. You're telling people the vendors, you could sell alcohol and stuff. If you're gonna sell alcohol, people need the music really to shout and go on bad and stuff, and that just the alcohol alone is gonna do that for them. So taking away the music to me is like taking away people who would have we're gonna go there, because you're gonna get people who are gonna go there. Really, they're not really. Some people.
The atmosphere is what they're going for. The atmosphere, right?
Yeah, right. They ain't really not about the cricket, but just knowing music gonna be there, and it's gonna be, the music to them is gonna be like a fun thing. Especially if a six is is hit, and then it come up on the big screen and people thinking up and the music, and that's it. But if you take away the music, you're taking away some of the crowd that would have been there. That's how I'm seeing it. And I asked Henry about it yesterday, and he think when I explained to him, he said, "Well, that is my opinion." about not having the music. It's just like they're making the same mistake like where they make 2007 with the World Cup. Remember they say, oh, when you go there, you can't gonna bugle and you can't gonna this and you can't gonna that. And then when you see the other games, them in other islands, people with bugle and conch shell and drums and everything. But in St. Kitts, you go in there and not even a church, because church now is a jam session.
Yeah.
And even funerals now is jam sessions.
Yeah. Sure.
So I don't understand it. To me, I think they need to we look that.
I don't think it's gonna continue much longer. I think the policy is going to be revised. It has to be. Yeah.
Because you're having a thing where you want people to attend. You don't cut the numbers already cut already because of the pandemic that is going on.
Yeah,
so you
policies,
say you could have been 8,000, you can't have 8,000 because you don't want that closeness of people. You say 4,000, the people have space to be more apart, a little apart from each other. And then now you're cutting it again because that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're cutting it by taking away some of the things that the people are going there for. Because to tell you, when you got cricket and anything, a lot of people ain't gonna go, but they really can't talk about the cricket. They go in and they drink, the music, and the atmosphere, as we will say.
Yeah, but at that point, people may opt to look at it through other means, whether online or on the TV, because because of the change in the atmosphere. Like that's not an opinion thing. That's if you do not create an atmosphere where people want to be, they will not go. Like, that ain't an opinion thing. That's just fact.
You're taking away you're taking away thing because like a 6 is it, and people they might be having a conversation or drinking. And because the music come on, because the music kind of indicating to the people that, who not will think that something just happened. And the people look down to the pitch because, okay, the music come on and the music, it's not like the music gonna be there for playing for an hour, 2 hours straight. It's an occasion. Something a 6 or 4 is being hit, or wicket fell. And the music come on for a few seconds.
Yeah.
When you're telling people now that you ain't gonna get that, you ain't got nothing, but yes, go to the game. So you're cutting the crowd in 2 ways by the vaccine, and then the amount that you say could go because they are vaccinated, or you're also telling people, well, those of you who go in not really in for the cricket, but for the atmosphere thing, well, you can't go because no music can be there for you.
Right.
So, but then another thing I asked my Cromwell yesterday also, and people going to be tested before they enter the stadium. So they're vaccinated because you say only the vaccinated unless you have this thing, because sometimes when rules are set, you only set for certain people. You have those, you have the people who these are opted. The rules are not for those people, So if you're saying that, if you're doing that because hey, we're gonna lay in some people who ain't vaccinated, and so we don't want people with this kind of atmosphere, because when we're not telling you, because some big shot people in the country, some people who seem to be looked at as big shot people, they're not vaccinated, but they're gonna be in the games. And probably they don't want us to know, well, okay, Mr. Green Tree or Mrs. Brown Tree isn't vaccinated. So because of that, let me put these rules to keep out small people, who want to go to the game. And to me, that is what it seems to be happening. They make rules and they break their own rules, and then small people who not making the rules, I don't even know that the rules are going to come until they come, is being punished for it. Thank you.
Right. Well, again, I'm not going back and forth on this because, again, my just let's just say gut feeling is that this policy can get revised sooner rather than later. I don't see there being many more games like the one last night, and I don't think that change is gonna come because of any recommendations from us or even the health officials. I think the organizers gonna just be like, okay, look here, look here, okay,
yeah,
like
pretty much.
And
I think, yeah,
but it is something that should be discussed because it really speaks to the mentality of the policymakers and the way that they look at certain things. It's definitely something that needs to be discussed. One of the things that people have been talking about as well is just the fact that, well, now we're feeling like you supporting the claim that being vaccinated or unvaccinated, it doesn't really mean anything. Because, for instance, like you would have had like Culturama that was at one point promoting a vaccinated only jam. So you would have had the chairperson of Carnival speaking about discussions, not concrete plans, but discussions to possibly have some vaccinated only events. So they won't have music either. like the t-shirt match wasn't gonna have music. But hey, time will tell, man.
Time will tell.
We are all just we're just here for a little blip. And
we're here for the good time, not the long time.
Yeah, indeed. Even though there is no music, but we're here still.
We're still here. Yeah.
But Kevon, what time it is, boy?
It is a tea.
He, not she. Oh boy.
So let's get into a little bit of tea. He. So let's give you your COVID update. Yay! All right. So here is your COVID-19 situation report as of Thursday, the 26th of August, 10:30 p.m. Total confirmed cases within the last 24 hours stands at 40. Total number of I know you ain't just yelled. Yes. Total number of cases since the beginning of the pandemic in the Federation between St. Kitts and Nevis stands at 995. Active cases stands at 372. Recovered cases stands at 620. Ooh. Total number of cases between both islands. For St. Kitts, we have 882. For Nevis, we have 113. I'm still mind blown that Nevis jumped up to the triple digits.
I was in Nevis
in a week.
I was in Nevis last night, and it wasn't lost on me. It wasn't lost on me on what was happening.
It's crazy.
It's like, yeah, it really makes you think. But again, guys, main thing: remain safe. Do everything in your power to remain safe. You know,
you should be doing.
I keep saying this, but like to people to remain safe and the protocols. And I must admit, I'm really getting to the point where, based on everything that I'm seeing, I am beginning to believe that it's like, do you believe that we're pretty much at a point where the horse has left the stable and everyone gonna most likely get a touch of corona at some point in their life? I'm really starting to get to that point where it's like, most likely, let me not say the vast majority, but let's say a slim majority of people will get corona in their lifetime. Like
Yeah.
I'm really starting to get to that point and feeling that way. And then the thing for me is when I get to that point and belief, like what does that do for my position? Because that means I'm now gone from trying to avoid it to managing the just managing the eventuality. So where does that leave me?
Questions and
I
answers.
really need to sleep when nighttime come and stop pondering life. Somebody, hey, anybody could slip me to Ambien, please?
Hello.
Oh boy. Oh, sorry. I know. Yeah, you're the link.
Help. Oh boy. Yeah, Azem just threw me off, so I mean, know what to do.
Let's move off for COVID now. If it's even possible. Is it even possible? Probably
Well,
not.
let's find out.
We
For
could
Jade picks.
we could change the flavor of the Corona conversation.
The next one. The next Jade pick is COVID. The next one after that is vaccination/COVID.
Oh man.
Okay, we can do this one. This one's
Oh,
a lot of
really?
piggybacks off of yesterday's conversation.
Yeah.
Let's do this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about retirement. So the social development minister, Minister Evelyn, this urges youth to take preparing for retirement seriously. The Honorable Eric Evelyn, Minister of Social Development and Youth in the Nevis Island Administration, urged participants at a one-day workshop designed to prepare young persons to plan for their retirement to take advantage of the information they receive. The Retirement Preparedness Seminar, which was organized by the Sustainable Development Unit in the Ministry of Social Development, was held at the St. Paul's Anglican Church on August 25th. He said, "I'm indeed delighted to see young persons, very young persons, being targeted for this initiative. I'm hoping that with this seminar that you are preparing yourselves to succeed even after you have retired, because life is not just about working." The irony. I personally believe that life is meant to be enjoyed when you retire. I mean, I think it's meant to be enjoyed all the time, but
Yeah. Yep.
okay. My legs, my knees, them done hurting me, and I'm supposed to enjoy it then? Okay. Okay. So he also said you must be prepared physically, including your health. You must be prepared financially, including the money, and you must be prepared mentally and psychologically. So I'm encouraging you to take in what will be shared and take it very seriously and also use it. Just don't come get the information, use it. It will be practical information that will assist you to plan for your retirement. He also lauded the efforts of Ms. Joyce Moben, coordinator for the unit, and her team for the efforts in organizing and executing the workshop. He expressed hope and that the initiatives such as the Retirement Preparedness Seminar will continue moving forward. So, young people, don't wait, save, prepare yourself for retirement, because retirement is real.
Look here, right? It's a matter of perspective, eh?
Yeah.
You know when you're 7 reaching to 10 had feel like so far away and you couldn't wait.
And you couldn't wait.
Yeah.
And when you're 10, you can't wait till you're 12.
Right.
But then when you're 12, you're like 13 because I want that team.
Right.
Then
so we always feel like young people. We always feel like we have a lot of time. Like there's time, and time don't stop. Time and things. Time does fly way quicker than we realize when we're young, right? It speeds up as we get older, or whatever. But I feel it's important, man. Like I think about this all the time. I think about, especially as somebody who really don't want to be working until 62. but I don't want to have to work until 62. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have
For
to
sure.
work. Yeah, I want to work until I'm like 97, but I don't want to have to do it.
I just don't want to work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
You over here, oh, I don't want to work. I just don't want to work.
I think what it is for me too is that I tend to navigate into spaces where the work doesn't feel like work. Like that's pretty much my approach. Like my approach is to enjoy work or what I'm doing so that it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't always, and I don't mean even when I'm doing that they're not days that I don't like, but for the most part. And it don't even mean that at some point in life you're gonna have to do something that you don't really want to do. Like like during a pandemic. But but yeah, I feel we need to really look at that. That's something that I also ponder at nights. Saving, retirement, even before you get to retirement, understanding that at a certain age there are certain things that start happening to your body that may require expensive medical attention.
Yeah.
And being able to contribute to that.
Sigh.
Yeah, guys, go look at life insurance, go look at health insurance. Yeah, don't just insure your car because the law.
Honestly.
Yeah, insuring your car, insure yourself as well.
Oh my God.
Trust me, and
stressing me out.
and the younger you are, the better. The younger you are, the better. Trust me. 'Cause you just never know. Just never know. Preparation is key and having a strategy.
No, this conversation is stressing me out because now.
Okay, vaccination then. Let's talk about vaccination.
No, thank you. Bad divorce?
I asked since early in the week how we all feel about the foreign trade situation in Iraq. Up to now, nobody want to answer me, but yeah, complaining about topics. Okay. Okay. The phone thing blinking. You want to check it or I'll leave it?
Yeah, let's take the call. See what's going on.
Let's see what this call has to say. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for taking the call.
Yes, hi. Morning.
Morning.
I'm always here listening.
Appreciate that.
And I must commend all of you. Because sometimes, as I say, we underrate young people. And we want our young people to begin to think and reason. Now to the pre-retirement workshop. I was in the public sector. I worked in the private sector for 2 years. Then I went and I worked for nearly 36 years for the government. And Azem, well, I'm a Christian, but I can tell you, I used to think and plan out in my mind by what age I think I want to do certain things. The government used to run these programs, you know. And I ain't going out there. I'm not going. I'm not old enough. Well, I already worked out that at the age of 55, I will not be in any government office for no young person to be asking me when I'm going home. What actually told me, I don't know why they don't want to send you home, you know. You understand? This is when I had a problem with me. I got a fall and I lost the vision in one of my eyes. Yeah?
Right.
When you're taking a mortgage, for heaven's sake, it's a simple math. If you intend to take a 30-year mortgage, you better be in your 20s.
Yep. Bye.
You better know what kind of mortgage you're taking.
Yeah. That's something
Work your mortgage
really
down to at least 50, 55. 62? At time cars don't last so long.
That's right. You got people
Sometimes no matter how much vitamin you swallow, your body is muscles and joints. You put in thing on all the time. So I don't work out. Look, I say when I reach 55, I start with my children. I said I wanted all my children to get a college education. Well, the loan thing there, right? The loan is yours. I send you, but the loan is yours. So when you come out, you work out your 10 years. So I send my children to college who want to go, who didn't want to go no way. where she went later. So I then said, well, by the time I'm ready to get up from this desk, I shouldn't be paying no debt for a student or for a child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You hear me? The mortgage, I had a 10-year mortgage. Every time I got a salary increase or my scale increase, I increased my mortgage payment.
Yep.
I paid off in 8.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Doable.
So when my time came, I didn't have to beg anybody. Please let me stay. And then you hear talk puppy and the rest on the radar, begging them. You think some of them don't want to go home? Some of them in debt up to their neck.
Yep. Yes.
You gone, some of you. These lots of massive houses you are building gonna make you walk till you creep. You build these massive houses,
problem.
million, quarter million. Well, I live in a 3-bedroom house and I'm by myself. The children gonna go up and go leave it, and for whatever reason they don't see your debt as their debt. So when you go and you got more debts that will take you to the age of 70, you're gonna have to work till you drop. So sometimes some of them you feel sorry for them.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That is important.
And by look, and if you're married, because sometimes people say, oh, well, you don't want none. Well, I tell you, God bless the knowledge of God. I bought medical insurance for my husband, and I bought life insurance for him. By myself too, eh?
All right.
My husband ended up, he had 2 major surgeries. 2 major surgeries. And you know, when you're working in construction, they're going to saving plan.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even think about that. I already think about the next woman they could get, and, you know.
Oh, wow.
And that is what took the strain off of me. He was diagnosed with 4th stage cancer, you know. And just to take a scan cost over $1,800. I had to take him to Antigua to Emma. You know what I mean? It is the insurance that paid for the tickets and the tests.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we are sitting down thinking the present. We have to begin to think the future.
Yep. We have to.
You might say, oh, I'm gone dead young. How you know you're gone dead young? Unless you kill yourself. So some of you are out there, you know, in your 40s. I tell some people at certain age, you better pay rent than to go take up mortgage.
No,
So
what I tell people at that age, rent to live.
Yeah.
Rent to live, but build to rent.
You understand? And don't build too big where the mortgage is more than the salary and going to be more than the pension, the 2 pension.
Build to rent and rent to live.
It's a lot of maths you have to do, you know. Because if you retire and the mortgage payment is more than the rent, more than the mortgage, then the little pension you're going to get, whether 1 or 2, you're in trouble. So some people you see working in because they well want to work.
No, they got to. They have to.
They're financially strapped. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they look good on the outside. It's stress.
The bank on the back.
Now, I know in Barbados and in Jamaica too, they have pension fund. When you could buy your own pension plan, you know.
Yeah. I always
Some
wonder.
companies, and I like TDC, I don't know about Hartford, they have pension plan for the workers.
Yeah.
So you could do your own pension plan thing. Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage all the young people and the middle-aged people and all who they thinking they're going to be young forever.
Aye.
Plan for the future, and when they run these courses, you civil servants go.
Yep.
Because how scientists go, one government come take you in, another government come put you out. They don't put you out, they don't promote you. So you have to work out your own salvation, the Bible says, with fear and trembling. All right then, so that's an encouragement to all of you, you know. And by the way, while we're at the arts, because you're self-employed, when you're self-employed, you're at a greater risk, you know.
Yep. Yes, sir.
You're at a greater risk. So you have to begin now. Now you don't got no money to plan how you're going to deal with money when you get money. All right then.
All right, thanks. Yeah, this is something that I mean we've said it here a lot. I believe that students in our education system a lot of these things, I don't understand why you leave high school and have not been exposed to it. Why you haven't been exposed to investment. I mean, even talking about, let's say, the US stock market or anything like that. I'm just talking about even local companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people don't recognize, there are companies right here in St. Kitts where you could buy shares, right, that pay out annually more than the expected returns on the US stock market, the average returns.
Basically.
Whether it's 8%, 10%, 15% in some cases. Alright? Like, why we don't know these things? Like, yeah, we talk about maybe the need for ethics and civics and these kind of classes as well, but see that financial literacy thing?
That part.
The
part they don't teach you in school. They teach you all kind of things you don't need to know, and then throw you into life and make you figure it. Spend your rest of your life figuring it out.
But you should not finish high school and don't have your guardian or somebody open a bank account for you.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Ay.
Manage it, like, guys. It's serious out there, and I think that this whole pandemic that we're in, I think they're waking up a lot of people. They're waking up a lot of people. A lot of people right now recognizing I was not prepared for this. I wasn't, and recognizing that I'm not prepared for what can happen in the future. How you gonna deal with it? So I like when we're talking about family planning and so, right, and family life and so, all these things, they need to come in family life. I do remember being taught like a budget, but it was very like rudimentary.
Surface.
Yeah, rudimentary. Like, it was basically adding an addition, right? But in terms of planning, like, much people, when I talk to them about budgeting and so, they don't include things like insurance. Like, what they forget the things they pay once a year. So they don't put that into like their monthly like budgets.
Mm-hmm. Which is things that should be putting money aside for. So when that once a year comes up, it's just there.
Yeah. And guys, let me encourage y'all, right? Have multiple accounts. Have multiple accounts where you could put your money for certain things. It takes some discipline, but you could have an investment account where you get a little money, or your paycheck, you put a little there, some for your savings, right? You have all these different. You could have different accounts. Nothing wrong with that. Some people got the money in one account and a debit card attached to the account.
And just swipe.
Swipe it all away. Not only that, the next person come behind you and take up that they're swiping too. You got access to your entire account. Yeah, these are things we gotta teach people.
Somebody I knew didn't know the rule that you're supposed to have at least two accounts. One attached to your debit card and one that's not. And then I remember that person only had one account and everything was on that account, and they lost their card.
Wow.
Here's the fun part though. It was a tap card.
Oh no.
So tap cards don't require PIN because
you just walk up and tap and go. So somebody who found it, the person also who lost the card didn't know they lost it until a long time had passed. So whoever found the card, we were at a restaurant. That person paid their food, paid for their meal. Right,
it was like $80-something with the tap card. Then went somewhere else, tap, and literally just kept tapping until the person realized that the card was lost and that the card was not in their possession, and they locked it. Upon locking it, they realized they lost about $3,000.
Ugh.
And this was on a debit card. So, getting money back from a debit card is not as easy as a credit card.
Right.
So I was just like, why do you have that much money just sitting in like, that shouldn't be there unless you're about to make a $3,000 purchase. But things you don't teach people. So
let me tell you something, right? I just don't have the luxury to be spending up on the place. I literally sometimes, when the cashier tells me how much the bill is, I already have more
transfer
back. I have
exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah. Just transfer that figure and then give her the card. It's done instantly. Like, watch yo.
I
There's
would already have
online banking and so.
my online banking open and waiting for the total. And when
Yep.
the total is told, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I waiting for the page to refresh when they're done swiping the card. I know you can go through before before the thing go through. Like, yeah, just gotta be wise. Just gotta be wise, guys. We just don't have the luxury. And I'm telling you right now, like, it is not the same for this generation, and it ain't gonna easier for the next generation in terms of what is possible with their money. Like, yeah, opportunities to make a lot of money gonna exist, and perhaps more of those will exist as time go on. But in terms of just the average person and what they work for and what you could get for it, nah. Salaries ain't outpacing inflation.
Yeah.
So every year the money you're working for is really less and less and less and less, and you didn't realize. Salaries will not outpace inflation. So we'll see. Yeah. Educate yourself, guys. You got this thing called University of YouTube. You better go watch some video. Oh boy. But Kevon, I'm not seeing our guest, so I guess we're just gonna bang him out. But you got more Jade speaks.
I guess so.
Well, to be honest,
okay.
There's some people trying to get in on the conversation. Good morning, caller, live on Island T. What's up?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I'm not even sure that you guys really understand how serious the issue is that you're speaking to.
Enlighten us.
It is very, very, very serious because age is creeping on, and if you don't make preparation for when you reach a certain age that you cannot do certain things, you're in trouble.
No, age is things serious.
You are not strong
scary,
enough. You are not in a position where you will be easily employed because your production would have dropped up to a certain point. And so someone will not look at you as someone who can produce for their money's worth. And for you to be outside of the loop, whereas you are able to look after yourself at a financial level, that is serious trouble. And so the thing is preparation is the key. I always say if the small man should go home every Friday with his paycheck, bar stay shut down. Because those who can afford it more and who make more don't spend the money in town.
Mm-hmm.
They don't buy from the small shops. They buy very little. Most of the money is tied up in mortgage. The engine of movement is the small people who make small wage. And those people, if they control the expenditure, most likely they probably will shut down the system because they will be buying what they need and not so much what they want. So it's a serious situation that those people are being kicked around and pushed around, but they are the engine of movement. Small business, small people who make small salary, it's a multiple effect. And so sometimes when we look at them, we kind of ignore them, but at the same time, you know that training is something that we need to have. If you make 10 cents, put 2 cents aside because it will multiply over the years. And it is something that you have to put aside that you don't touch. Don't touch. Don't go there. If it's an emergency, yes, you can, but it is don't touch. Because money saved is money really earned. Because you can't say you're going to eat, get everything now and eat off everything. You can't do that. It's yours, you do as you like. You can't do that. You can't eat off all the food you have in your house as next day you have nothing to eat. You can't drive your car up and down because the tank full of gas. Tomorrow you have no gas. Then what happens? You have to plan. He who failed to plan to fail. Preparation is the key. Thank you very much. Your program is timely. You should do a lot more of this. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right, you too, man. Appreciate it. But let me tell you something, like, Kevon, this thing, like, the older you get, the scarier you get if you ain't prepared, eh? Mm-hmm. And we be talking about, we always mention mental health and things like that. You got a lot of people walking around acting out, and you ain't even realize it's just financial issues got them stressing here. I tell people all the time, I don't judge people who have the mental breaks and things like that, because you only one miss paycheck away from crazy, yeah?
Basically.
But I right now there's a lot of missed paychecks. You understand? But it's even this thing, like the caller suggested, people saved, very important, necessary, very important. But even so, we just talk about inflation. Most of the banks give you like a 2% on your savings account, right? Inflation is something like 6%. So every year your money stay in the bank, it really worth less than. It can't outgrow. It can't outgrow inflation.
The interest sounds nice, but the interest does not keep up with the inflation.
Right.
So your money is growing, but it's not growing at the rate it needs to.
Right. So it's every dollar is worth less every year. Right. So even things like that, people just need to be aware of. I'm planning, like, when you're young, is the time to take these risks. You know, like when you're young, people take the risk now. I think my father does. The father does tell me all the time, risk resilient. That's what they call it. Risk resilient. I better try something now. If you fail, okay, you might could recover. But when you're down to buy, I got responsibilities. I got kids. I got this. I got that. I know
stress
and buy.
Stress.
And you walk out. But let me try something. Yeah, you might be in a position where you have to, so you do it. But do it now. Do it now. Trust me. Do it now. Try something. It might not work. All these women selling eyelashes and makeup and flip flops. What do they call them? Bridgettes? I don't even know. But I seen I think a Bridgettes is them little slappers by the girls away now. They're gonna Instagram finding girls in Jamaica who make them and sell them and sell them here on the WhatsApp. Big up yourself here. Big up yourself. Just make sure you're counting right. So make sure you're not selling at a loss. Yeah, make your little $2, make your little $5 on every show. Don't watch people. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. But be smart with the money. Don't work out. Oh, I got a business, so you know. You got a business, you're making a little extra money. Nothing wrong with that. But that don't mean you're supposed to just blow it away. That don't mean just blow it away.
Why not? Why not blow it away? That's the way to go, no?
Yeah, bye. Hey, DJ Shabang here saying, do two things with your money. Have an account for emergency funds and another for investing. Trust me. Same thing we are saying. Yeah, you know, educate yourself and try to prepare for the future. The future does come quicker. When we say future, it seems far off. The future is tomorrow, yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
You know, I remember last
now.
week I was in high school. Here I am, ready to look into retirement plans.
Bro, I was studying. I was telling somebody the year I graduated university, and I can't believe there's so much time gone. I can't believe it's so much time gone. But time ain't waiting by. Guys, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Trust me. Trust me.
It's the best. That's the best advice we can give you, to be honest. Prepare
Yeah.
yourselves. If you don't know how, ask questions. Ask somebody who's done it before, and see how they could help you. Because
look, that's one thing we need to boost to it. People being willing to ask and learn. Attach yourself to people with qualities that you admire. Right? Things that you want for yourself.
Be willing to assist people too. Like, you know, I know a lot of, and be willing to just sleep in a way that doesn't feel condescending. Because I know sometimes people ask for help and it's like, oh, you know, can you help me with a resume? And the first response, you know, try to resume, and it's just like, that's why they came to you.
Yeah.
So you already turned off the person and made the person feel like they're supposed to know something they don't know. So how about you just say, sure, no problem. Like,
bro,
that's all.
That's a big pet peeve of mine we're discussing there. And I don't believe a lot of times people do that because they're trying to be condescending or they're trying to be there's this thing where some people that's like the personality and
That's
people,
just, and yeah,
people with
that's
that
the way they
personality,
interact.
to be honest, like it does like every response ain't gotta be like that. Every you know, got some people like everything have to be a quip.
Nah.
Everything have to be a quip. Like no, like balance is key, guys. You don't really get to me. This is a pet peeves. I'm dealing with it with somebody right now, so that's why you're on it.
Balance is key. It really is.
Yeah. Oh. Bye. Kevon, the weekend is coming. The funny thing about it is,
Upon us.
the funny thing about it, we are talking about like being young and planning for the future and things like that. And again, another thing that I be thinking late night, who got the ambient hookup for real? Like just leave it at the studio, like and then give me. But I was thinking about like, you know, when you're on an escalator and the steps kind of just keep going up and disappearing and you get closer and closer to the top, like how that is like in life and family. Like, you know, every like families have like the patriarch, right? Like whether it is the grandmother or your great aunt or uncle, whoever, who is just like for whatever reason. First, and we have to discuss that. How do people become the patriarch? You just got to outlive everybody else?
I think patriarch is the last mother. The first.
Anyway, yeah, we'll do that. That's a story for another time. But the point I'm getting at is, you ever stop and think about like the fact that we just on this escalator and some people getting off and you're getting closer to the top? Imagine you might be a patriarch.
I don't want to do this.
Oh boy. But
it's literally an escalator, and every so often somebody steps off and you're one step closer to
being the person that was at the top. But the thing about it for me is how you look at it, because if you have people in your life that handle that position well, like all you could do is hope to do the same, right? Like all you could do is be like, I hope I did school when all the little grandchildren running around me by. Like I want to be the cool grandparent. I want to be the one who has like, okay, so like my father, like we're not really that close, but like when I've interacted with him, he hardly says anything. He hardly speaks to anybody, including his wife. But when he speaks, it's always something profound. And I'd be like, I wish I had that. Like it just seems so cool. It just seems so cool. Like the man just sit there all day and read books, and then people be having conversations around him and whatever, and then he'll just like interject with his word of wisdom, and he's like, how you do that? Like I want to do that. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I have it. I
just want to make it to next week.
But yeah, but guys, the weekend is here. The weekend is here, and it's gonna be time for us to leave you, for you to finish out your Friday, and to get on with the business of the weekend without music. So. Oh, bye.
I don't think I even want to know.
No. Vaccinate your music, guys.
Okay.
Be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But no, seriously, guys, be safe this weekend. Keep your guard up. Sanitize, wear your mask. You know, and encourage those around you to do the same. Especially those who are coming into your presence and coming into your homes and stuff like that. Sometimes we get a little lapse. But, you know, be safe. Until I come back next week also with a whole new take on this whole thing, and probably just tell people, man, just forget it and do what you want. Who knows?
YOLO.
We'll see. YOLO. Kevon, we didn't mention, but before we go, I did mention it earlier, but we didn't really big it up. But big up to the Patriots winning the first game last night.
Yeah.
It was what I would call a proverbial beatdown, even though I must say what kind of hindered my celebration was the last over. How a last over got in 20 balls? it's like they had to make like 40 something runs on the last over, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got this, and then it's just like, wait, another wide, another no ball, like, oh. Imagine if at that point I was about to say, watch you, bro. What you need to do is to fake a feint, and just tell the umpire you can't finish it over.
That's my thing, whenever you're down and out, just you have to go, give it a reason. So if you faint, sprain the ankle, shut on yourself.
But yeah, shut on yourself and tell the umpire I'm not unable to continue. Somebody's gonna have to bowl the last 6 balls. But yeah, man. But I'm really happy that we're off to a good start. I believe that there is some excitement around CPL, as much as people now are asking questions about the policies. But there is excitement around CPL. I think it's something good for the spirits of the people. Everybody, I was passing places last night. Everybody got it on the TV. Who ain't got it on the TV, watching it on the phone. Who ain't watching it on the phone, like getting updates through WhatsApp and text. So yeah, big up to the Patriots, team, and hopefully we could stay in this winning form right through to the finals. But guys, it's been a great week. We had a bunch of amazing guests. Thanks to all you guys who log on online, whether it is on Facebook or on YouTube, on WINNMedia SKN every morning between 8 and 10, or if you listen to us on the WINNMediaSKN.com on the website, or if you listen to us on the radio. There's so many ways you can interact with us. Wow. To all the callers, big up yourself. Somebody see me Ramsey the night and was like, y'all need a break, y'all getting spicy. Yeah, let the callers get to y'all. It's like, no. I actually really like the interactions. So thank you guys for calling in. Thank you guys for commenting. Stay tuned. We have Your Point of View with Sandra coming up next. She has an amazing guest who's already in studio. So stay tuned, stay locked for that show. But Kevon, it is time. The Duke of Frigate Bay, the Prosecco Papi, Fet Van himself, the Pope of Hygiene, the Slim God, is here, and he has some words of encouragement and wisdom to leave with you, our listeners. Sir?
Because remember that you can't be everyone's cup of tea, because you is not a mug. See you on Monday.